A spoon was the only thing this boy had left of his mother. Inside a Nazi concentration camp where millions were erased from history, a child went to sleep every night holding a small bent spoon in his hand. Not food, not comfort, just metal and memory. He guarded it more carefully than his own life, because it was the last time he ever felt his mother's touch, and he had no idea he had already lost her. By April 1945, Dachau had become one of the most brutal concentration camps in Nazi Germany. Behind its barbed wire, thousands of prisoners were breaking down from starvation, disease, and exhaustion, every day blurred into survival, every night into silence and suffering. Among them was a child. No one knew exactly when he had arrived. Like so many others, he had been torn from his family during deportation. It happened fast. Chaos, screams. Doors slammed shut on crowded transport cars. And then, in that moment before everything disappeared, his mother pressed something into his hand. A spoon, worn down by years of use. One edge slightly bent. She looked at him for a moment that would never repeat and whispered, "Don't lose this. You'll need it." Then the doors opened, and she was taken away from him. Forever. He did not understand it then, and he would never receive an explanation. Inside Dachau, days turned into weeks, weeks into months, and the boy stopped asking where she was, because in that place, asking questions meant learning truths no child should ever know. But every night, when the barracks fell into darkness, he held the spoon tightly in his hand, sometimes against his chest, sometimes hidden in his palm, as if holding it harder could hold her closer. Survivors later remembered him clearly, a child among rows of wooden bunks, men hoffing through the night, some praying, some whispering names into the dark, some who would not survive until morning, and in the middle of all of it, the boy sleeping with one hand permanently closed around a small piece of metal. Inside the camps, survival was never only physical, it was memory, and memory lived inside objects, a photograph, a torn fabric strip, a wedding ring too small to remove, or a spoon, because everything else had been stripped away. Homes, names, families, identity, all reduced to numbers and signs. Then came April 29, 1945. American soldiers entered Dachau. The gates opened, and the world inside collapsed. What they saw would stay with many of them forever. Prisoners ran toward freedom. Some fell to their knees before they reached it. Some cried without stopping. Some searched desperately through the chaos for people who were no longer there. The boy searched too, through faces he did not recognize, through voices calling names that had no answers. But his mother was not among them. She never came back. He had survived, but what he had lost could not be recovered. In the days after liberation, survivors were given food, clothing, and medical care. But survival did not end the story. It only began the memory. According to later accounts, the boy kept the spoon long after the war ended, even when he no longer needed it to eat, even when life slowly returned, because the spoon was no longer about survival. It was about connection, a final trace of the person he loved most in a world that had taken everything else. History remembers war through numbers, through battles, through dates, through victory and defeat. But what war actually takes is found in smaller things. A child asleep in fear, a child holding a spoon in the dark, a child trying not to forget the only person who ever made him feel safe. The Holocaust took millions of lives, but for those who survived as children, it also took something harder to measure. Safety, belonging, and the belief that love could protect you from the world. And yet, sometimes, something survived. Not in records, not in monuments, but in objects never meant to carry memory. A photograph, a button, a spoon. Inside Dachau, a single bent spoon became more valuable than anything else left in the world, because it carried something no camp could destroy. Not completely, love, and even after the gates were opened, and the war had ended, and the world moved forward, some children never let go. Because letting go meant losing the last place their mother still existed, and for them, that was impossible. May their memory never fade. If you enjoy forgotten stories from World War II, please subscribe and join us as we remember the moments history should never forget.